In this tutorial, we are going to explore different types of mask options in Lightroom, how they work and when to use them. Make sure you watch till the end. Thanks for joining in. You're looking at a photo I took in Vancouver. The morning bike commuter was probably on his way to work. I picked this photo for the tutorial because of the color combination. There's red, yellow, blue, and green, primary colors. If you take a look at the histogram, it's leaning to the left, meaning it's quite dark. I underexposed it to protect the sky details. Let's lay down the roadmap. First, I would like to make the subject pop. Second, mask out the distractions. The overall tone I would like to be urban dark tone, so the audience focus will be on the subject and the colorful foliage in the background. Let's fire up Lightroom. First of all, in the basic panel, bring back the details in the shadows. Your camera is capable of capturing all the details. That's why we prefer to underexpose than overexpose. In the tone curve panel, I'll add contrast, intensify the colors, and make them more saturated. Basically, make an S-curve on all channels. The trickiest thing about curves, they have to balance with each other. So try to match all three curves with the same values. Second, adjust the overall exposure. We can increase the midtones and highlights. For the blacks, I like to make it matte tone. At this stage, you might not see a dramatic change. Bear with me, the change is coming. You might notice the subject is incredibly red. We'll address that in a second. If your Lightroom is the latest version, there is a detect people function. You don't have to lift a finger. In seconds, you'll be offered different options. You can select the skin on the face, the body, lips, and so on. I prefer to select the subject as a whole, so I go ahead with the select subject option. We are trying to make the subject pop, increase the exposure, and slightly increase the shadows. You can adjust the intensity for the effect. If you go overboard, it's really unnatural. Let's keep it at 90. We'll be making more selective edits down the road. Labeling is very important. Keep it organized. The next step is to deal with the distractions. This thingy in the foreground is really bright in color. We're going to explore multiple mask options and see which one is the most effective. Let's try the object selection. Decrease the saturation. If it's all the way down, it looks plastic-like. We can still see the red color along the edges. Let's delete it and try the color range mask. Is it better or worse? It's picking up all the red in the background. What about luminance mask? It's picking up even larger area that is the same luminance level, but seems it's not suitable for this case. It would be great for landscape if you want to select the mountains or the sea. So back to the drawing board. I think the best so far is object selection tool. It's more accurate and specific. This time, I'll use the brush tool here. I have an idea. We can add the metal color. It's still red around the edges. We can refine the mask by painting a larger area with the brush. Looking good. When it comes to colors, we want to keep the dominant colors and mute the unimportant ones. We have red foliage, a blue helmet, and a yellow jacket. The green on the construction site is removable. We can melt it and make it gray. The problem is, it also affects yellow and blue. Another way to approach it is to use object mask on the helmet and increase the saturation, so the background is no longer fighting for our attention. Once it's been taken care of, it makes color grading super easy. We're going for the urban dark tone. All we have to do is to add a tiny bit of dark blue in the shadows. Be careful, don't let it slide to the green. That's it. It's made simple because we have done the previous steps. Now to the final adjustment. If we zoom in, you see this bit needs to be cleaned up. Hit the subtract button. Let me ask you, which mask will you use to make the refinement? Brush? It takes forever, and the result is not good. Let's give it another go with the color range mask. I'd like to talk about this slider. When it's set to 100, the selection area expands, just like the feather. It becomes less accurate. Whatever effect you add to this mask is weakened. I don't want that. If you bring the slider all the way down to 0, the edge is crisp. I prefer to keep it at 50. As for the subject, we can tune down the saturation for a bit. Here's the before and after. Let's recap. We went through the basic panel, bringing back the details in the shadows. We have added contrast with the tone curve. We have explored different types of masking tools. We have muted the color of the objects that are distracting. That makes the color grading easy. And lastly, we have cleaned up the mask. Do you like the transformation? If you do, let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.